global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello beautiful people, welcome back to Global Happenings Today YouTube channel. So a few hours ago, Chief Bode George took time to tackle the person of Atiku Abubakar during his frank speaking interview, where he talked so greatly about the three factions that refuse to let go, even though they're not the owners of the party. He talked about the governors forum, the PDP governors that have said to stand strong with Fubara and are not letting go, and their voices are very strong. And talked about Wike, the FCT minister, and his allies who have decided that they have a strong stake and they are not letting go. And of course, the Atiku faction, who have decided that whatever the case is, national presidency is theirs for the taking, and they will not let go until they eventually become president. He literally didn't use the words, but summarized it in that manner. Of course, he didn't sit down well with him when he talked about the issue of Atiku Abubakar giving room for younger generation, as maybe their time have gone past and they need younger generation to, ply that route of being a president using the platform of PDP. Of course, he didn't really mention it in that light, but the implied meaning was so strong that Atiku had to reply. Let's quickly dive into the news to find out exactly the words. In fact, it's quite getting interesting as the thing is beginning to spin to everyone involved in PDP. Before we go to the newspaper, kindly subscribe to our channel. Now, according to the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, has decided to hit back at the member of the Board of Trustees BoT of the People's Democratic Party, Chief Bode George. Now, Chief Bode George retired from the Nigerian military, or rather, Nigerian Navy, as a commodore, and during the military era was Old Ondo State sole administrator. He first moved against Atiku in an interview, saying that if the former VP had been elected president in 2023, Nigeria would now be facing collapse. If Atiku had won, let me quote him word for word, he said, if Atiku had won, I would have stayed in my house because I know in the future he would collapse. This country would never accept it. If Atiku had won that election, you think this country would have been stable? Because somebody from the north had just finished 8 years, and our own norm is that after 8 years, the presidential candidate must come from the south. PDP chieftain said. His uncomplimentary remark about Atiku has thrown reprisal from a Adamawa-born politician who used to be a customer officer. The PDP presidential candidate media aide Paul Ibe, in a statement he released, said that contrary to Chief Bode George's position, an Atiku presidency would have brought prosperity and peace to the country. Ibe went on to accuse the retired Commodore of nepotism, given he's from the same state as President Tinubu, adding that the elder statesman is a disgrace to the military. Contrary to Chief Bode George's imprudent talk, an Atiku presidency would have heralded an era of prosperity, driven by a cabinet brimming with seasoned and adept individuals chosen solely on merit regardless of their backgrounds or beliefs. Now, such leadership would have safeguarded Nigerians' interest, steering clear of the bigotry and nepotism and brigadage that characterize this administration, instead of the current state of disarray driven by haphazard policies. Nigeria would have thrived really well under Atiku's guidance. In contrast, we see Bode George, who once threatened exile should Tinubu ascend to power, now oddly silent about the present administration. Is Bode George's reticence because Atiku is not from his region? It is prudent to consider Bode's opinion with caution. Bode's conduct is a disservice to the military, an institution esteemed for its unity. Here is a commodore who paradoxically embraces tribalism and undermines the very principle of military. It is a source of shame for the armed forces to have such a figure in their ranks. Well, this is really going, well, if you ask me, I don't see anything wrong that Chief Bode George has said. He only said that there's an unwritten constitution and some sort of agreement that whoever have done, if the South not have done 8 years, it's the turn of the South. It's something that over time every politician have agreed to. My colleague is in the house. What's your take on the fact that Atiku's aide have decided to come against them Bode George over his unfriendly remark about the fact that if Atiku had won, the country may not have been stable because he probably wouldn't have taken it lightly, just like Peter Obi and the rest have done. What's your take, please?
Well, for me, I personally think that the media should allow Bode George to rest. Bode George is an old man. The first thing that hit my mind was when Bola Tinubu won the election. I can still remember that Bode George said he will leave the country immediately. But all of a sudden, I saw the man was now talking him, from both sides of his mouth, and I was wondering what the situation was. And now, if you look at how he is, kind of diving into the politics of today, you notice that he's one-sided. Right now, he's tilting towards Tinubu, the same Tinubu that he blatantly rejected. So that is causing a lot of cause for concern. And also, Bode George is the same person who have been agitating for oneness in PDP. All of a sudden, picking up Atiku Abubakar to lambast him, what are you doing? You're going to tear aside the party. So personally, I was of the opinion that they should allow this old man to rest. He has done his bit, because if you see the way Paul Ibe, there's a special advisor to, or the media person to Atiku, is just tearing this man apart. Come on, he's on call for, So the media should allow him to rest, though the man is not also ready to rest. Every opportunity given to him to talk, you see most of the time he talks out of point, a kind of like you say this today, tomorrow you are saying the other thing. It's quite unfriendly. But be that as it may, if you look at the situation in the country today, I think PDP, if they must get what they want, they need to continuously have one house and possibly have, a kind of the request for other parties to join them so that they can conquer. This is not the time for internal battle. This internal battle will keep tearing them apart. And unfortunately, with what I have seen thus far, especially in PDP, it points to one direction, that party does not have the capacity to overthrow APC. You know why? Because inside that party is men of ethnicity. Men who are, if someone from their tribe comes from an opposition party and is sitting there in that seat, you see them, they'll start dancing instead of them to hit it on the head. Now, come on, let's tell ourselves the truth. It was the same thing during the period of Buhari. Atiku wasn't this vocal, where every day he's speaking against Bola Tinubu, but he wasn't this vocal. Let's tell ourselves the truth, At one point, you see him, he was calming down, he didn't say anything. But all of a sudden, when Bola Tinubu came on board, repeatedly he's talking. So we now realize that ethnicity is a party by itself. At the start, you see them, they'll start fighting. Oh, but immediately their person comes on. But I don't know if they have always been settled at a point. Because, Nigeria, you just can't trust this politician. If sometimes those guys call them out and settle them, and all of a sudden they shut their mouth. The same thing that Atiku did to Buhari is the same thing that Bode George is now doing to Bola Tinubu. You are seeing him telling Nigerians we should give Bola Tinubu more time, that he believes that he can do this and do that and all of that. Even his party now, his game up and down, he will be standing by Wike's side, all of a sudden for Fubara and all of that against Atiku. These things are not good enough for the party. If the party must sell beyond where it is now, they need for uniformity of purpose. That's just my viewpoint in respect to this unnecessary battle going on between these two elder statesmen. Atiku Abubakar is very close to 80. Come on, Bode George is already 80 plus, or maybe going to 90. So what's the unnecessary squabble for? It's really disturbing, I must say.
All right, we could go on and on. That's to go wrap it up. Let's meet in our conversation. Let's brainstorm.
Global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news.